Hi guys, welcome to Let's Chat Expedition Africa. So today I'm speaking to a very special friend, once again, all the way from the UK, Adam Rose, and he is a reporter of Sleepmonsters. Hi Adam, how are you?
Hello. You can hear me, yeah?
I can hear you.
I'm good.
Are you good? How's it
Yeah,
going?
I'm good.
How's the weather and how's all the stuff going in the UK?
Perfect weather, perfect conditions. Really, nothing to complain about. I'm only inside because of the interview, but otherwise I'll be outside in the sunshine.
And I see your beautiful background in your office.
Yeah, that's Rodrigues. I'm calling from Rodrigues. And I just, I don't normally have this stuff behind me.
You don't?
No. I'm posing.
Well, keep it that way. It looks awesome. And what's your helmet? Show me your helmet. What's it say? Sleepmonster.
Sleepmonsters.
So to our friends at home who don't know of Sleepmonsters, let Adam tell you exactly what he's been doing at Sleepmonsters for years. You must please check their website out. Adam's got the wonderful job to go to these amazing races in the world and travel. No, obviously not now anymore. But then they do reporting of all our events and they write stories from everything, from the beginning to the end of all the races, the good and the bad. So when you're a race director and Adam or Rob, when they come to your race, you're like, okay, I need a 5-star room for them. So I hope over the years I've given you some 5-star treatment, Adam.
Yeah, you have. It's been amazing. Really good.
Really good.
It's actually a bit of a competition to try and come out to your races because of the 5-star treatment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There are only 4 of us in the team really who do the reporting. There's Anne-Marie and there's Pyro. And there's some competition to come. There was some competition to come out to Expedition Africa. I got here, I think, because of my Afrikaans. Not that it's brilliant.
Of course. Ons moet bietjie die taal praat, né?
Ja, ek kan.
Kan jy? Hoe goed is jy nog?
Nie te sleg nie. Well, actually, it's not for me to say. Somebody else can say if it's that good.
I'm sure Bruce always in the race somewhere. I don't know if I've done the same with you. Bruce always says in the races, especially when I get very tired, I just come and stand in front of him and I like ramble off this long line of things he needs to go and capture or do. And then after I've said it all, he looks at me and he's like, Heidi, Afrikaans, you just spoke to me Afrikaans. I don't know what to say. So I don't know if I've done that to you before.
Well, that's no problem for me, but I know Bruce can't speak a word.
Like, what did you say? And then I must be honest, I actually get so upset. And I'm like, can't you just speak Afrikaans,
like a normal person.
I think exactly, like a normal person. So anyway. Well, Adam, it's wonderful to chat with you today. Thank you for giving me some time. And
no worries.
I actually just want to speak about your journey with Expedition Africa and what was special and what happened over the years. So where did it start? Where did you start noticing us?
I got into adventure racing in 2009. That's when I started, or started competing anyway. And I don't know when Hermanus was. When your Hermanus event was. I don't know which year that was. It was probably
2011.
2011, yeah. So I started following Expedition Africa from that first race, from the videos that were published from that event. And it was partly because Merrill adventure addicts were in the race. And, I may live in the UK, but I'm still a South African at heart. So I was always, what's the word? Supporting the South African teams, and Merrill was the #1 South African team out there at the time. So when I saw them compete in the Hermanus race, I came to the race because of Merrill Adventure Addict. That's how I got to know about your race. And then over the years, it's always been the #1 race that I've wanted to do, because obviously as a South African, I would love to race in South Africa, and I never have, and I still haven't. And I was hoping to race.
I'm waiting for you, Adam. I'm waiting.
Yeah. I'm hoping one day. But and I got involved with Sleepmonsters formally in 2013, I think, with the Costa Rica World Championships. I started collaborating with Sleepmonsters properly then, or reporting for Sleepmonsters properly. And then since then, yeah, you know, as you said, it's a really great opportunity to go out and visit amazing places and see amazing events, but meet amazing people. You know, adventure racing for me is about the people more than anything else. I grew up in a very adventurous kind of background, living on the edge of a huge gorge full of wild animals in South Africa there. So, you know, we'd go and play in the bush all the time. And then, and you get scratched and bitten and nettles and thorns and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up messing around outdoors like that. And then to get into adventure racing and meet other people who embrace the same adventurous spirit has been very important. And it's one of the things that I love about adventure racing. I mean, you said to me earlier this week, am I around for an interview? So obviously I thought about this a little bit. And one of the things that I love about adventure races is they're a bunch of people. If you say to them, let's go out and suffer a bit and have an adventure, they will jump in. I mean, like literally, I saw some South Africans this week commenting on one of the other races in South Africa. And Adrian Safi was saying how terrible that race had been for him. It had whipped his butt, I think, something like that. And I think it was Zane said, you know, I'll be back there in a second to be suffering again in that experience. And yeah. I love doing that anyway. My brother and I love doing it. And then to meet other people who love doing that. And then because adventure racing is a team sport, to compete and share that experience is different from doing some sort of ultra marathon where you're doing it on your own. So, you know, that's probably the most important thing for me about adventure racing is the fact that it's a team sport. And I've written about that, and, you know, I keep on going on about that, but it's the one thing that separates the sport, I think, from so many of the other endurance sports is that you're literally saying at the beginning of the race, we don't know where we're going. We don't know how we're going to do this, but let's go out there and have a jaw. If I'm going to speak South African, have a jaw and suffer, and that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Like we've all whinged on a race, but it's not a real whinging. It's just like I'm going through a bad spot.
Yeah.
But that it's a group of like-minded people who don't mind that.
Yeah.
For the bigger picture of the incredible experience you're going to have. And, you know, Adventure Africa for me, to do that in the country I was born in and grew up in and love, and a love for the bush in all its different shapes and forms in South Africa is just like, it's a match made in heaven. So, you know, one day I'll be in one of your races, not just reporting on it.
Don't wait too long, you know.
I know. And Lesotho, I mean, it's sad that Lesotho has been postponed, but it gives me another opportunity to maybe get my things together and maybe
maybe for a few months. Well, if you're not getting it together on that side to sort of race or whatever, we you know, it will be wonderful if you can anyway join us. You know, have you been to Lesotho while you were in South Africa ever?
Well, I grew up just outside Durban, and we spent a lot of time in the Drakensberg. So my journeys into Lesotho haven't been proper Lesotho. It's just been onto the escarpment.
Yeah.
And then over on, you know, into the back there, but not properly. So the pictures and the videos you guys have shown, that's the bit that really intrigues me because it's combining the Drakensberg with the unknown. So I know the Drakensberg, but I don't know the Lesotho deep part of that. So it's a win-win, you know, some insider knowledge and some wow.
Yeah. No, Lesotho is special. I wish for all the teams next year that they can fall in love with Lesotho like the way we have over the scouting period of time. And after this lockdown, it's going to be one of our trips to go back because when we moved the race, you know, Stefan immediately pulled out the maps and he said, now we'll have to relook. Let's relook at this whole situation and see if we cannot change something or make it better. And there's already two places in the race where he said he wants to go back and actually spend more time in those sections and see if we can't, there's something we want to do. And if we couldn't do it because it was just too difficult and logistically a problem for the race to go there. But maybe now, if we have a little bit more time, we're going to see if we can come around and including those two sections that we really want to. So,
sure, even better.
Even better. I believe it's even better. And also I believe maybe after this whole time in all of our lives, you know, maybe ancestors are 10th edition. You know, there's so many special elements. Just the Four Guys, which Adrian is one of them.
Yeah.
The Four Guys is going to have their 10th edition race. You know, our 10th edition race. It's just a very special, and if people can get together there, it will be more than, as you know, for us, it's very important that it's more than only a race.
Yeah.
Those elements all come together and make it so much more extra special for the Merrybacks.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I think that we see so many teams going back to Expedition Africa, you know, returning again and again to the race. And I mean, you know, I'm not trying to lay it on thick, you know, it's our job at Sleepmonsters to tell the truth as we see it. But, you know, one of the reasons, I mean, as some other races do get it right as well, but it's just that the whole idea of family, family, you know, that good family, that is so special. And to see, I just see it, so many international teams come back again and again. And we saw that in Rodrigues with you know, Swiss Power Bar. I mean, that was just amazing. That ceremony before the race started, you know, for Gillian. Hey, wow. That's hectic.
And you know what? I was in doubt. I kept on saying to Stefan, I have to do something. We're going to dedicate the race to him. I think it's important. It's one of us. And if it was anybody else, we would have done the same. And then I said, but we have to do something. You know, like I can't just put his picture in the book and write it's for him. Is there not something we can do? And you know, you always doubt that you want to do all these little extra things in the race, and then other people might not feel your heart and feel the same way than you, or it comes across not right. I don't know how to explain it.
Sure.
I don't know what is the right words for it.
It might fall flat. That's how I'd say it. It might fall flat. But we know that didn't at all. You know, that was electric. The atmosphere was amazing.
It was amazing, but it might not be that. You know what I mean? So you as a race organizer, you're like thinking, what must I not? And then Stefan just says one thing. My husband always just give me such a confidence boost. He always just say to me, Heidi, number one rule, you must follow your heart. If your heart say to you, forget about all the other people and what they think and what they're going to say. Just what is your heart feeling is the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And then I grabbed the mic and I said, okay, we're going for this. I mean,
that's the same thing you're doing with these interviews. You know, it's actually
my husband's fault.
No. The most special, yes, the most special person. Yeah.
Oh well, but so yeah, that is special, and family, and it boils down back for me for love and connection, family, and I think maybe like you, we've also raced many years, and you know that deeper connection with your teammates, and how hard it is just to take time off from your life and work and the dedication, and finally you're at this race. It must be more special. It is not just a race, you know, like, and like those emotions and suffering you go through, you know, I can't go as a race organizer and not still be connected to that. I think that is why for us it's so important to do every leg, and I want to feel what the teams are going to feel. Because then I can feel like, was it enough, or you know, do we need to change it, or you know, I think it's enough. You know, there's a fine line between. We always believe before it's too much. But anyway, that's on another note. Adam, speak to me about Kouga. You came for the first time to us to Kouga. Yeah. Speak to me about that wonderful race we had. And
the Bavians.
Yeah,
I mean, not having been out to Expedition Africa before, I was quite nervous, you know, because it meant so much to me to come, because I wanted to do the race so much. So I arrived quite nervous, but yeah, I mean, I made a lot of connections with people who I'd known beforehand online at a distance, and one of them is that strange, weird, mutant boatman, Mr. Bruce Vine, to make contact with him in person. And now, Kouga was brilliant in terms of following the story on the ground, because that event was a real journey. You know, some adventure races don't feel like a journey. And that one, just watching the you know, like you said, the teams who've competed in Expedition Africa for years, I remember the reactions at the end when they finished on the beach, and then we did those interviews post-race. I mean, people were freaking out. They were just like, that is it. That is unbelievable. And you and Stefan had pushed them. Well, Stefan's the route organizer, right? So he had pushed them right to the edge, some of those teams. And that was brilliant to see, you know. And for me, part of it was being back in the bush. I mean, because it did go through buffalo country and all those other kind of places. And I grew up spending time in the bush because of what my father did. He was a wildlife painter. And so his work was to be in the bush the whole time looking at animals. So that was just a special little thing for me. And if you ask Bruce about buffle, what is a buffle? There's a little thing that happened between him and I. But, you know, yeah, I mean, I was jealous of some of the places those teams went, because I know, and you said that at the time, you and Stefan said, teams will never go through that cliff again. It's unlikely, you know, that they'll be allowed. So the people I met, the location was incredible. I'd never been to that part of the Eastern Cape before. Yeah, I mean, and you've subsequently run so many of those 120K events there because it's so beautiful.
So beautiful. That Cape St. Francis Resort, that venue has just been, from that event, been just an incredible support to us and welcome us back every year. And we just changed the route because there's just so many places from that venue which we haven't even ventured to. And yeah, we are running our 120K races from there as well. It's beautiful. And
that's building relationships with the locals. That's the thing.
Yeah, it is easier when you go back to the same relationships with the same people, because they know you. That is a hard part of adventure racing. You always go to a new area and you need to start from scratch every year. So that is really, you know, one of our. We actually have our race in September scheduled at the same venue.
Yeah.
So at this stage, let's hope we can still run it, but I will see how it goes. Yeah, I actually remember there's a photo, I think Bruce taken of you when you were sitting in the beginning of that cliff. There's a photo where you're sitting with a fire and you're working on your laptop. How incredible is that photo?
Yeah, and I had some coffee on the go on a little fire there.
I mean, that is awesome. Treasure for memories forever.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. No, that event was brilliant. And then to come back for Rodrigues, I mean, I would love to have come to the Macro, but that just didn't work out. So, you know, Rodrigues, we all know that people had their doubts about whether the concept would work. And now it opened so many people's eyes to what's possible in such a small area. But admittedly, Rodrigues is an amazing place anyway. So not every place can provide that amount of variety. And
oh, yes. And I mean, we went to Surprise. We kept on telling everybody, like, you know, all the things it gave us, you know, all the rope sections, you know, the cave, the tortoises, you know, like the islands. And I think, like you say, everybody was skeptical.
The island behind me, right?
The island's behind you. But I had, since that race, so many emails, so many messages of people saying, Heidi, if you organize another race there, without a blink of an eye, we're going to be there. And that just shows you think you've done with one little bit of space, and people will go back. And the people who haven't done it, I think Shirley also thought, oh, that is such an amazing island.
Yeah.
So for you, overall, Rodrigues,
you know, if I was going to compare Rodrigues and Kouga, because of those being my two, you know, personal experiences, Kouga was more of a epic mission to achieve those stages. You know, like that mountain bike leg in the middle, people were swearing when they finished that event. You know, wow, what happened on that route? Whereas Rodrigues was more accessible, but faster. And because it was faster, it was intense in its own way. It wasn't a lesser event. I mean, it's I think even people who've raced with you for so many years still see it as a highlight, even though it happened in such a small thing. And for me, some of the highlights on that race certainly were following those teams at the very front end. Because it was such an accessible race from a reporting point of view, we could be everywhere. We weren't isolated from the competitors.
I think I hardly saw you, Adam. I think I hardly ever saw you.
No, we were always out because it was so accessible. Whereas some races, like Lesotho, is going to be much harder for whoever's covering the race to be able to be with the teams unless they're prepared to race alongside the team. But it also, I think one of the things, and I know a lot of teams would say this as well, I'm sure, was that it was a more intimate race. You know, people were able to connect with other teams so much more easily because you constantly saw each other, you know, whereas most tail end teams, once they're at the tail end, they never see anybody again until the end of the race. Yeah. Whereas in Rodrigues, you got to see and rub shoulders with the top teams or the middle teams all the time. And that was why the concept was so brilliant. And, you know, for people who raced that event for the first time, you're spoiled. You are spoiled because it's going to be very hard to match something like that. I don't care who you are. That was a really special event. And then just the whole tropical vibe and all that kind of stuff. Everybody beforehand was like, it's going to be beautiful. I think it was interesting that the weather wasn't all great. I was looking at some of the photos this week, you know, and at the beginning, it looked like there was going to be a huge storm and all that kind of stuff, and it got cold, and so it gave the whole range. It wasn't just picture-perfect paradise. It was tough, and people got freezing and all that kind of stuff, and swimming across those channels between the islands. Yeah, I mean, I saw people, it was hectic, and I saw people with wild eyes after finishing those swims, and I'm talking about in the front teams, like in the top 3, with wild eyes going, what the hell have I just done? So it wasn't easy. Even if you were the top teams, it wasn't easy. It was flipping hard. And it was beautiful. I look at some of the pictures today. It's like, wow, they suffered. That's great. That's how people come, eh?
But you know,
the higher the suffering, the more the intensity.
Yeah, and I mean, even when I just look back at the pictures, like you say, maybe people were suffering, but everybody is mostly smiling. And the colors, the bibs, and the tropical, you know, the everything, it just is like picture
vibrant.
Perfect. And from our side, it's, you know what, I always dreamed of having an island race. It was always my dreams that I, as an organizer, would like to achieve that. And it is really a, you know, a blessing to say that we could have said we had the white beach and, you know, blue waters, turquoise waters. We had the
everything.
Privilege. Everything, and the island, the government, and the tourism who supported this event to that magnitude. I mean, that was the biggest prize giving function ever of anything ever on that island. You know, just people don't understand just how much they went through to make something like that happen. Everything from the flag parade, the opening ceremony, everything was the biggest thing they've ever done. And to get that support from, you know, such a small island, from their tourism and government, I can't even tell you what a privilege it is. I think as a race director, it's definitely one of those races you might never have in your life again.
I mean, I can speak for myself at least, but when you're in the company of that kind of, I don't know, generosity and camaraderie and love. We know your races are about love, but it's humbling.
Humbling.
You know, humbling. It's humbling, and you're just grateful. And adventure racing, I will say, this isn't the big statement on adventure racing, far be it for me to say something like that, but I'm just saying adventure racing is humbling. You know, and I really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate that during an event, every team goes in knowing that as a team member, you will be weak at some point. And then you will be leaning on your teammates to get you through that moment of weakness, that period of weakness. So you have to enter adventure racing knowing that humility, and the humility to say, please help me because I'm weak, is intrinsic to adventure racing. And if we go in like that, then the racing can just open up. You know, and what you guys did, what you and Stefan did on Rodrigues, was you said to their community, please help us to stage this. You didn't go in there and impose your vision on them. You went there and you showed them your vision, and people bought into that vision, and together everybody was surprised at what was pulled off. Like, you were surprised at at the magnitude, like you said, the prize giving was incredible. It was picture perfect in every single way. Even the weather was perfect. And all the volunteers, all the competitors were just awestruck. And you know, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that appreciation for, and it's not always, but for those brief moments, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, you know. And then we go back to normal lives and get on with normal life. But it's incredible.
It's that moment. And I mean, that's why I say that's always been my biggest thing, both with myself and Stefan, to keep that humbleness and you know, as good as your last race. That's Stefan saying over and over and over. And when you see those people, when we saw the government and the people for the first time, you have to have this dream and the ability to show them your dream. And also to make them understand we're foreigners in a foreign country. It's not our country. And we cannot do this without you. And with us, if we have the dream and we can just guide you and show you how it must be, we can do it. We can get extra tents from other venues. We can bring in extra chairs, more tables. We can make even food in other kitchens. I mean, even a half an hour before everybody arrived for that final event, I said, no, my screen is too small. The screen for the presentations are too small. And they all looked at me and I'm like, I said my number one, I have to have a bigger screen. You cannot show the videos and the photos of what have people done at the finale if the screen is this little small. And it was, while you guys had dinner in the upper section, there was a new bigger screen came in for Heidi, and when I walked down, I was like...
Yeah, that's also like the story of the paddles, eh? The paddles that went missing.
The paddles that went missing, and we got paddles blown in from the Mauritius for plan B until the real paddles, we found the carbon paddles, and plans were made. I mean, anyway, so listen, we have hours and hours of stories of the most incredible memory. All I can say from my side is, Adam, that from our side, big appreciation. I mean, I don't think you guys always understand how much we appreciate it. The support. I mean, I can't write. I think everybody.
Some would say the same about me.
I think everybody knows that. I can say what I want, but I can't put it down in paper and words. But for people to capture our stories, it's a blessing. It's wonderful. And I wish one day I can show all these wonderful memories and my kids will appreciate it, that their parents did all these wonderful things. And yeah, I just hope that we can be safe for a few more years to do more of these wonderful things.
Yeah. We really hope so. I say we because, as you know that, you know, all the teams say the same thing to you, eh? Well, yeah, thank you.
But thank you for our chat, and look after yourself. And maybe, God willing, I can see you next year in Lesotho.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what side of the fence. But at least we have a little bit of time. It will be a special one. Like I said before, Lesotho will be more like your Kouga and Namakwa kind of races. Long legs, painful. That weakness, need a friend. Those deep in that sense. Deep. I call it like your original, you know, like your original kind of expedition races. And
back to the roots kind of stuff.
Back to the roots. I call it like going back to our roots kind of thing. And yes, so we hope we'll see you there.
Hopefully.
Look after yourself. Love to the family and your children. And building mountain bike tracks and all those amazing things.
I snapped my cruciate ligament last week on that mountain bike track.
On that track?
Not a good idea. Maybe I'm getting a bit old. Anyway, that's a separate story.
Anyway.
Okay, thank you very much, Heidi.
Yourself.
Cheers.
God bless. Bye,
Thanks.
Adam.
Bye-bye.